A few people have mentioned to me that I was a bit harsh on last week's episode with regards to the Nintendo Switch. I had to think about it over the week, and while I initially saw their point of view, I have had a change of heart and started to objectively think about the Nintendo Switch, and hence tonight's Ryan's Rant. First of all, the Nintendo Switch's hardware in terms of the build quality cannot be casually overlooked as it's currently being done. You might want to close your ears.
Okay.
Can you imagine for 1 second if Sony or Microsoft released a console where anytime you move more than 3 feet back from your TV, your controller kept disconnecting? Furthermore, fathom this. If people complained to Microsoft, for example, that their controllers were disconnecting, and the dock that came bundled with their Switch kept on scratching the screens, and the response was this, and I quote, "As soon as I heard of this report, I asked my teams, have we seen this in our own experiences?" And the candid answer has been no. If Microsoft came out with that response, their headquarters in Redmond would resemble a scene from The Walking Dead. Which leads me onto the screen. The fact that it's plastic is beyond a joke. Do you know how many tablets and smartphones have been ridiculed over the years for having a plastic screen? It's subpar, it's shitty, Gorilla Glass or go home. The positive outcome of all that ostracizing and ridicule of those companies over the years is that now nearly every phone and tablet released sports some form of glass screen. But Nintendo's judged by a different standard. They often make shitty hardware and everyone shrugs their shoulders and gives it all, what do you expect from those crazy little Japanese people? Well, we wouldn't let Sony get away with it. Why should Nintendo? Just because they make kiddie games doesn't mean they should be treated with kid gloves. And here's the thing, I say this with the best of intentions. I want Nintendo to do well. I really wanted the Switch to be my next console that I purchased. It could have been my son's first console, how cool would that be? But at the minute, with the current games lineup and nagging hardware issues, for me it's simply too hard to justify purchasing one. We need to help headstrong Nintendo see the error of their ways, to give them constructive criticism so that any changes possible can be made with immediate effect. One of the problems that I see is that Nintendo's diehard fans simply won't allow this to happen. You only have to look at the backlash Jim Sterling received for giving Zelda Breath of the Wild a 7 out of 10. Or the ridicule that was directed towards CNET for their video on the Switch's kickstand. Was it exaggerated? Yes. Was the problem unfounded? No. The kickstand is flimsy as hell and your £279 Switch will fall over at some point, hopefully not onto the floor.
It's fine, it'll survive it.
This kind of backlash from superfans only makes Nintendo more headstrong and less likely to change their ways, and trust me, none of us want that. It can only spell disaster. Constructive criticism means revisions can be made for the console's next production run. Listen, I get it. People love Nintendo, especially because they do crazy things. I love companies who think different, but that still has to come with a level of quality and a degree of integrity that we have all come to expect from the electronics market in 2017. If the Switch fails, and unfortunately I have a feeling it ultimately will, that's it, it's over. Nintendo will go the way of Sega and Atari, and then there will be two. And trust me, a console market with just Microsoft and Sony, where the biggest fanboys who influence the market's direction can only talk shit about 4K HDR, even though they're playing the console on a 32-inch TV in their parents' basement, is not a healthy landscape for any of us. It just disappoints me that Nintendo doesn't seem to have the vision that the rest of the world needs them to have. Simple scenario. Your kid at Christmas is harassing you that they want a tablet for watching Netflix or going on YouTube, but that they also want a games console. Normally you would be looking at buying two products or making the tough decision, as most parents will, to pick one or the other. But if Nintendo had assorted their shit and had a tablet that actually functioned as one, then come Christmas they would be flying off the shelves, as parents would only need to buy one product. And here's the thing. It would make the product more appealing to a broader market. Unlike the piece written in TechRadar this week, which claims the Switch doesn't need apps to flourish, I couldn't disagree more. While the writer of the article said he could put his hands on 4 multimedia devices sitting on his desk and didn't need another, guess what? Some people aren't so lucky and can only afford one. For me, it comes back to the ethos that Nintendo portrayed with the launch of the Switch. Taking the Switch on an airplane, as shown at launch, is a great idea for keeping kids entertained on long journeys. What's so wrong with being able to watch a downloaded film from Netflix afterwards without having to bring along another device? Put it this way. Say you're on the fence about buying a Switch because you're not sure about the game selection or even if you will play games on it that much. If it could function as a multimedia tablet, then it makes the purchase seem much more appealing and justifiable. I don't want to completely write off the Switch. I think with major updates, Nintendo can turn the ship around before it's too late. And before anyone comments, what are you talking about too late? It's only just launched. I'll leave you with this. The Wii, considered a roaring success, sold 3.19 million consoles in its first quarter. The Wii U, stigmatized by most as a dismal failure, sold 3 million. Almost like for like in terms of sales figures in their first quarters. So just because the Switch is on target to sell 1 million units in its first month does not guarantee long-term success. That only comes from one thing: games, 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 of which there are few and far between.